All right. So, number one says, Abby wanted to know which fast food has the best burger. She started at Wendy's and went 6.2 miles to Best Burger, then 8.3 miles to McDonald's. The angle at Best Burger is 63 degrees. What is the distance between Wendy's and McDonald's? All right. So we make a picture of a triangle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll put W for Wendy's and B for Best Burger and M for McDonald's, okay? And it doesn't matter where you put those, all right? It tells us that she started at Wendy's and went 6.2 miles to Best Burger. So there is my 6.2, 8.3 to McDonald's, and the angle at Best Burger was 63. So that's the information you're given. That's a side angle side situation, right? So is that law of sines or cosine? Cosine, yeah. Cosine. All right? And we're looking for the distance from Wendy's to McDonald's, right? So I just made that X. But could make it B, I guess, since there's capital B, we can make that little b, right? If you want to stay consistent, like we've been doing. But I just put x squared equals, and then I use the two sides. Doesn't matter which two, which order. I'm going to run out of room. Some of you are forgetting to make sure you put the 63 in there, what the angle actually is. All right? So we put all that in our calculator, just like that, how you wrote it, and you get 60.6. It's 60.6 miles from Wendy's to McDonald's, right?
Yep.
No. We got to do, Nate? We got to square root that, right? Right, Naomi? You got to square root that answer?
Yeah, square root it.
And when you square root that, you get 7.8. Good. All right? So just draw a picture of it and figure out if you got to use law of cosines or law of sines. Yeah. No.
It's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
It's a group
quiz.
It's a group quiz.
No, it's not. You have to do it on your own.
This is the easiest stuff ever.
We're here for 2 days. Yeah.
So what?
What? Fail it.
No, you're not.
Just study.
It's just like this stuff. It's all these little word problems. Simple.
This is for first graders.
All right, number 2.
Second grade.
It says, I guess you say Varus is exploring the hunting grounds when he is approached by a bullywug and giant lizard. He is 126 feet from the lizard, and the angle at the bullywug is 39 degrees. If the angle at the lizard is 46 degrees, how far is Varus from the bullywug? So, I don't know what that's from, but I don't know. Lord of the Rings or something? I don't know. So, so we'll say Varus is here. We'll go B for bullywug and L for lizard. All right. He is 126 feet from the lizard. The angle at the bullywug is 39 degrees. The angle at the lizard is 46. How far is Varus from the bullywug? So we're looking for that. So I have 2 angles. Whenever I have 2 angles, what law do we use? Sine, right? Do I need to find anything else before I do this? No. Because I have an angle and the side opposite it, And I got this angle, and I'm looking for the side opposite that, right? So we're gonna go x over the sine of 46 equals 126 over the sine of 39. The only time we mess up on these is when we put the length of the side with the sine. Remember, it's always the sine of the angle measure, right? Right, Michael? Always the sine of the angle measure. Okay? So, Trevor, you get the answer already for me?
Yeah.
What is it?
144.
That is correct. Cross multiply and divide, and you get 144. And that's feet. You guys know how to solve once you got it set up, right? Right on. Ashley, you know how to solve those once it's set up, right? Carly, you know how to solve the proportion, right? Naomi? Yep.
Chelsea.
Okay? Questions? We're all participating, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Right, Mason? I don't see Michael doing anything. I'm calling Tiffany back. Did she get my message? Called her Tuesday night. All right, number 3. Jenny drove her car to Taylor's house, then decided to go see a movie at Tinseltown. All right. So we got Jenny, Taylor, and Tinseltown. They're my 3 spots, right? All right, so I'll say this is Jenny, I'll say this is Taylor, and I'll call this Tinseltown, 2 T's. All right, so Jenny went to Taylor's, which was 5.7 miles away. Then they decided to go see a movie, and that's 7.8 miles away from Taylor's house. The angle at Taylor's house is 57 degrees. So we got another side angle side one, right?
Yep.
So we have to use law of cosine, just like the first one. Right, Sally?
Yeah.
So this one, and we're looking for, what? How far is Jenny's from Tinseltown? So we're looking for this again. Alright, so that's x squared again, and then again, order doesn't matter for these. I usually just write the smaller one first. I don't know why, but that's just what I do. And then again, cosine of 57. Again, make sure you put the 57 in there. So when you do that in your calculator, it's all in your calculator, you get 44.9. So I have to remember to do what? Square root it. And we get 6.7. Pretty easy stuff, isn't it? You guys are good at law of cosines and law of sines. All right.
How many problems?
6. Okay. You'll have to use your own paper tomorrow. So bring a piece of paper with you. Answer is 6.7. All right. This one is not a very good problem, but we'll do it anyway. I know. Really gives you more information than you need. All right. So, there's 2 different ways. People have done this 2 different ways, and they got 2 different answers. Okay. And the one way it's with the information you're given, and the other one is they find the missing angle and then do it. And actually, the find the missing angle and doing it makes more sense, but it doesn't matter. But just so you guys know how to set these up. Kimmy and DJ and Steve, right? Full House people. Anybody watch that show? And then DJ's house was 7 miles from Kimmy's. And then 18 miles to Steve's house. They drove together. And then they're going to go back to Kimmy's later. If the angle at Kimmy's was 83, and the angle at DJ's was 29. So you didn't need like one of the sides because you got two angles. All right. So most people and we're looking for how far from Steve to Kimmy's, right? We're looking for this. So most people just went, well, I know these two, and I got that. So no, most people didn't find that. But if you found that and use these two, you get a different answer for X. So, and then that different answer actually makes more sense. Because if you do it this way, sine of 83 over 18, because you got two angles, you're going to use law of sines, right? And then sine of 29 over x. Again, it doesn't matter if you've got these fractions flipped, right? That doesn't matter. Just be consistent. You get 8.8 when you do this. If you do the other way, you find out the missing angle, which how do we find out what the missing angle is? Subtract these two from 180, right? It's 68 degrees. And if you use these two and then those two, you get 3.7. Which one makes more sense? Well, the second one actually, right? Because which one, if the smallest angle should have the shorter side, right? So what it's saying is that this length, 8.8, is longer than the 7 across the 68. That doesn't really make sense. You guys see what I'm saying? You know, the shortest side should be opposite the 29, right? Zach?
Because you have two sides and an angle.
Well, the angle I guess these two. Right, you could use that. What'd you get when you did that?
4.4.
And there's a difference. So again, it's not a good problem. Those numbers for the triangle might not be able to get a triangle out of those actually. But remember our side angle. Like if we didn't know this one, if it was like this, the problem. That's a side angle. That was the one when we did law of sines that could have two triangles, right? So maybe it's a two triangle type thing. That's why we're getting two different answers. All right, we won't have one that's a bad problem, okay? You will?
Let's do
Yeah. Okay. All right, number 5. Let me get back to my Now this says we got a sloth hanging out in a tree. Okay, remember when you draw a tree, usually it's straight up and down, right? So we're going to assume that what type of angle is the ground in the tree? 9, right? And the sloth's up here, and that's 11.2 feet up there. And there's a hungry person. I guess they're going to eat the sloth if he comes down. Okay. There's a hungry person. An unknown distance from the tree. So the hungry person's down here on the ground. We don't know the distance he or she is from the tree. Well, no, it says an unknown distance. This number 5, not 6. The angle at the human is 49 degrees, so this is 49 here. How far is a person from the tree? So we could do it with SOHCAHTOA way, right? What side is this compared to 49? Opposite. What side's this compared adjacent? So what's opposite and adjacent? Tangent, right? TOA. So we could do tangent, but we're so good at law of sines that we could use that too. It'll work. So to use law of sines though, I got to figure out S, right? This angle. What's that angle? 41 and 49, is that 90? Because that's 90, right? We need 90 plus 90 to get 180, right? Right, that is 41. So we're going to go x over the sine of 41 equals 11.2 over the sine of 49. All right? So when you cross multiply and divide there, what'd you guys get? Oh, you didn't do it yet. What was it? 9.7. That is correct. That would be feet.
You can take off the labeling.
What's that?
You can take off points for labeling.
No, I'm not going to. All right, so that's a right triangle one because we're up in a tree. Okay? But you can still use law of sines for a right triangle. But we could have done tangent like we did when we first started our trig stuff. We did sine, cosine, or tangent, right, to solve these. And you could still do that. This is another one. Jack climbed up one of Taylor's trees to rescue Jill. So we got another right triangle problem. So again, you could do this SOHCAHTOA way if you wanted. It says Taylor came outside and stood 8 feet away from the tree. So Taylor's down here. Jack and Jill are up here, and this was 8 feet there, right? The angle from Taylor to Jack and Jill. From Taylor to Jack and Jill is 47. So the 47 is down here by Taylor. How far is Taylor from Jack and Jill? So do I want the opposite side from 47 or do I want the hypotenuse? How far they're away from each other? Hypotenuse, yeah. So we could do adjacent over hypotenuse and do cosine if you wanted to. But I think since we're in law of sines and law of cosines mode, right, let's just do that. So it's going to be x over the sine of 90 equals 8 over the sine of 47, right? No. Is 8 opposite the 47? No. 8's opposite what? 43. So we had to find this 43 first, right? So just because 47 was the angle you're given, we didn't actually have to use that. Or we can't use it because we don't know the length of the side opposite the 47. So what's the answer when we cross multiply and divide there? 11.7. Very good. You guys are so smart. Another feat. All right, so tomorrow's just these types of problems. They'll be worded a little better, I think. I think you guys can handle it. Law of sines, law of cosine stuff. Right, Miller? Okay. Thanks for participating.
Thank you.